in, and my majority leader, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, the leader of majority of the National Assembly, senators present, members of parliament. We, the caucus of additional counties, appreciate and celebrate the Constitution 2010. We take pride in and solace in the spirit and letter of...
Can I guide also? I'm sorry, Mr. Honorable, for interrupting you. I hope you understand that you don't need to read the whole thing.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
Just highlights.
I will go into it.
Yes, highlights.
I hope my time has not been...
No.
You understand the principle, eh?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. The Constitution aims for fairness, equity, and shared prosperity for all Kenyans, and without discrimination, marginalization, of any other communities and religion and race. The reason for my reading this, especially this part, is so that the Joint Committee can appreciate that what we are here before you for is to pursue further devolution. We appreciate that devolution has worked. We appreciate and we see the fruits of devolution of our chairs. But at the same time, we also appreciate that it is our responsibility to make sure that devolution even works much, much better as envisaged in the 2010 Constitution. Chair, before you, this caucus will demonstrate, and that is where now I'm going to leave it to the next person to speak. We will demonstrate that the number 47 is not a magical number. The Constitution envisaged creation of additional counties and has provided a route for it in Articles 95, 174, 188, among others. Secondly, this caucus will also demonstrate that creation of additional counties does not require a referendum. In accordance with the Articles 156 of the Constitution, there is a route that has been presented and prescribed on how additional counties can be created alongside boundaries. Number three, this caucus will also demonstrate that creation of additional counties does not require additional resources. The Exchequer, the public will not need to spend any additional amount as is commonly said out there. There'll be no additional resources. The resources that are currently going to the counties, those counties that are born out of the new counties, the original counties, pro rata, according to their population and size, there will be a formula. I know that Kenyans are not without enough scientists. There will be a scientific formula of establishing pro rata, how the monies that are going into those counties can be shared equitably. In conclusion, this caucus appreciates and respects the concerns of big communities. We, majority of us here, are minority communities within the counties that we are seeking to get additional further devolution. We urge that this committee and country to appreciate the inbuilt systemic exclusion and suffering of minority communities, constitutionalized marginalization, and try to resolve conclusively and end this said marginalization for the betterment of Kenyans at large. We believe that this country can find a win-win-win formula that makes Kenya even better. The principle of one man, one vote, 1 shilling, 1 kilometer, additional 11 counties. We know that this country can always coexist with each other as we find a win-win solution. And therefore, we urge this committee to consider creation of 11 additional counties of Kuria, Teso, Mount Elgon, East Pokot, Mwingi, Gucha, Suba, Ijara, Nakuru West, Wajir South, and Nyambene. And you will note, my chairs, that we cut across the entire country. And this has nothing to do with parties. This is a cry for people out in the country who want to belong like anybody else. I want to give this opportunity now to Karoli Omondi to present the next session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kitayama. Ladies and gentlemen, my task this morning is very simple. I would like to, on behalf of the honorable members present and the various representatives like the Suba elders who are behind us, the elders from Pokot and other communities, and Teso, we also have elders from Teso.
Would we know those elders?
Please,
By way of showing hands.
Suba elders. Suba elders.
Let's go step by step.
Step by step. Suba elders.
Okay.
Kuria elders. Teso elders. Pokot elders. And there are others who have appeared here before you. Yeah, from Mount Elgon and the rest. My task is to demystify six myths that have been associated with the national discourse on the creation of new counties. So I want to debunk them. I want to put them to rest permanently so that people can have an honest and sincere debate on this quest for new counties. Ladies and gentlemen, the first myth is that to create a new county in Kenya, you need a referendum. That is a myth. That is not the law. The law is very clear in Article 188 of the Constitution.
Sorry, Mheshimiwa. Could we please have another copy from the Secretariat for what
Actually,
is
here
being
is a copy.
presented?
We'll be
Kindly,
presenting. Please, here.
let's have another copy
Yes,
with the
there
chair.
are 2 copies for the co-chairs. And so these other ones. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yes, Honorable Karoli. Just proceed.
Yes. Let them get to you so that you can follow my argument. Yeah. The first point is to demystify or to debunk the myth that you need a referendum to establish a new county. Our Constitution is very clear. Article 188, 1 and 2 provide as follows. If you want to create a new county, then Parliament shall establish an independent commission to review the boundaries of existing counties. Once that process is over, the next step is that review is then presented as a parliamentary initiative under Article 256(1), 2, 3, 4 of the Constitution by way of a bill amending the first schedule by introducing a new county. So the boundaries, what you need to know is that the boundaries of an existing county can be reviewed for several reasons, and there are 7 parameters set out in the Constitution.
You say 188?
188, 1
allows for
and 2.
Okay.
Article 188, sub-article 1 and 2 of the Constitution, as read together with Article 256, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Those are the operative articles of the Constitution of Kenya on the creation of new counties. Now, once the Parliament has established an independent commission, the next step is that review.
Under Constitution.
I want my elders to be allowed in.
Yes, we have additional
Please
elders
allow them to
from
come in.
They must come in, otherwise there was no point of us being here.
There are additional elders from Teso. Let them be allowed in.
Just allow them a few minutes, then we proceed.
The review will take into account 7 parameters. These 7, not all must be fulfilled. A review can be conducted on the basis of only one of the 7 parameters. And these 7 parameters are population, the need for infrastructure, both human and physical, historical and cultural ties of communities, the issue of costs, views of the communities affected, and the fulfillment of objects of devolution as outlined in Article 174, and also geographical features. Any one of those 7 parameters can inform a review. You don't need to fulfill all of them. And then the bill proposing that review and the amendment of first schedule by inciting a new bill is then processed under Article 256, 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the Constitution of Kenya.
Just hope that will help us understand how you navigate around 255.
I will come to that.
Yeah, please.
I'll come to that.
Yeah.
By way of parliamentary initiative. I want us to be clear on that. Now let me get to Article 255, 1 and 256, 5. I think that's where you are, correct? Articles 255(1)(I), 255(1)(I), and Article 256(5) of the Constitution of Kenya. These are the two articles that set out the amendments that require a national referendum. And our reading and conviction and the knowledge we have is that they do not apply to creation of new counties. Why? Because the review and alteration of boundaries of existing counties do not amount, note the words, do not amount to an amendment of the objects, principles, and structure of devolved government units. The three parameters that must be subjected to a referendum are where you are amending the objects of devolution, which are outlined under Article 174, when you are amending the principles of devolution, which are in Article 175, and when you are amending the structure of devolved government, which are outlined in Article 176. Review of boundaries do not fit there. So those articles do not apply. Now, it is our conviction that when you are amending the boundaries under 188, you are actually promoting the objects of devolution. You are promoting giving life to the principles of devolution. And those new counties will embrace the same structure of government as outlined in Article 176. So there is completely no space for a referendum to create a new county. I hope we have debunked it. I hope you understand it. I hope the rest of the Kenyans are on the same page with us on that issue. We do not need a referendum to create new counties in Kenya. The second one, in no particular order, is the myth that new counties...
Yes, proceed. It's a contention that the structure of devolved government is provided for only in 176.
Yes, and the structure is that there must be a National Assembly and an Executive Committee. So
and
the
that,
new counties will
creation,
have a National Assembly and Executive Committee.
And that varying the numbers of counties doesn't in any way...
That does not vary the objects, does not vary the principles, does not vary the structure. It gives life to those articles by creating new counties.
Proceed.
And let me bring, I think I'll jump my presentation and go to the third myth so that you understand it further. Let me go to the third myth. There's a myth in this country that 47 counties are the optimal number of counties that Kenya needs. It is a myth. It is a myth. And why is it a myth? The 47 counties as presently exist were not created on the basis of any scientific research. There was nothing. There was nothing to form their basis. As a matter of fact, there was not even a single occasion of public participation in the selection of the 47 counties. And they were provisional, and the committee of experts were very clear that we are starting with 47 as provisional. And their creation was arbitrary. Why was it arbitrary? Because people became lazy in Naivasha. People did not want to work and have a basis. The original provisions or proposals were 8 regional governments and 74 counties. Those 74 counties were based on scientific analysis by the late Odhiambo Mbai and his team. The 47 are created on the basis of existing administrative units created for a centralized government, not for a devolved system of government. They are the old districts that were gazetted as at 1992 by previous administrations. Now, that process was very unfair and skewed. There are areas that traditionally were excluded from being given district. But even then, the ones that were existing and gazetted by 1992, not all of them were made counties. And there are others that existed but had not been gazetted but were made counties. So basically, what we are trying to say is that the current 47 counties have not been premised on the objects, on the principles of devolution as recognized in our Constitution. Yes. There are administrative units for a centralized system of government. They are not units for a devolved system of government. And then there must be a review on that basis. I hope we have demystified that myth. In other words, Kenya can have less counties or it can have more counties. But for purposes of equity, because the parameters that have been used to create the 47 have been used to deny other people who are deserving it is only in the interest of equity, fair, and justice that the counties that share the same parameters as the ones that currently exist be given the same opportunity. And I can give you examples.
Through the chair,
Yes.
what about Article 6.1 of the Constitution, which says that the territory of Kenya is divided into counties specified in the first schedule?
That is why I'm saying it can be
So
amended.
boundaries vis-a-vis, readjusting the boundaries vis-a-vis creating more counties could be two distinct things.
Creating new counties has nothing to do with boundary of Kenya, because they are within the boundaries of Kenya. In fact, there's a Latin principle, e pluribus unum, out of many, one. So there's nothing, absolutely, that Article 6, actually we should look at Article 6 in terms of providing proximate services to the people. We should look at the principles of devolution, of giving communities a chance to govern themselves. Yes. Of giving communities a chance to make their own decisions. Those are the principles that we should look at. All the counties will be within the territory of Kenya. We will not create a county in the territory of Uganda. Yes. So,
Mheshimiwa, may
Yes.
I ask something?
yes, please.
You have a very strong point. And if you look at Article 6.1 against the Article 255, you realize already Article 6.1 says that the territory of Kenya is divided into counties specified in the first schedule. Now, the first schedule lists down 47 counties.
Yes.
That in itself is the structure of Kenya, of devolved government. One national government, 47 counties. So what that means, therefore, is if you want to bring in new counties, my thinking, I could be wrong. And for your information, I'm extremely sympathetic to what you're doing because it affects my people, the Tesos. Okay? So I feel them, and I know what it is they go through, and how much they want to have their independence. Now, but is that to mean, therefore, since you're literally touching on the structure from 47 counties to the new number that you want us to have, isn't that aren't you affecting the structure of government? Because the structure as stipulated in the Constitution is one national government and 47 counties. So which would mean maybe there may be a referendum aspect in it. Maybe that's something you people need to think about from where I sit and looking at the provision of the Constitution.
Through the chair.
Thank you very
Just
much.
before you respond,
Yes.
Honorable Kalori, through the chair, I think Honorable Kalori is actually trying to explain to us on how it can happen, and let us give him time. I think I'm getting to understand those concepts, kidogo. Let's give him time.
Oh, let's proceed.
Thank you. Let us understand, international boundaries are defined under international law, not under municipal law. So the boundaries of Kenya are a matter of public international law. So we cannot define them, and we cannot use administrative units of governance, be they for devolved countries or central government, to define our boundaries. That is another matter altogether under municipal law. What Article 6 is telling you is that there is a republic called Kenya. This republic has a national government, and it has, for the time being, the 47 counties listed in the first schedule. It is not telling you they are permanent. It is not telling you they are unamendable. It is not telling you new counties cannot be created. Otherwise, there would be no reason to have Article 188. The reason why there is Article 188 is that the first schedule to the Constitution of Kenya can be amended at any time the people of Kenya wish to do so. I hope that matter is also debunked. Okay. So let's again demystify another myth. There is this myth that new counties will be costly, that new counties will be expensive to run. What people don't realize is that new counties will have their national subvention prorated from the existing 15% subvention to the counties where they currently are. So what you have is the limited additional expense of having a county women rep, a governor, and a senator. The rest of them, the MCAs will be the same, the members of parliament will be the same. And here the examples begin. How many constituencies do we have in Taita Taveta? How many, and it is a county, how many do we have in Elgeyo Marakwet? How many constituencies do we have in Isiolo? How many constituencies do we have in Lamu? How many constituencies do we have in Tharaka Nithi? If you compare that, the population, the constituencies, the MCS, and the people behind us here, most of them are the same, 2 constituencies, 3 constituencies, or 4. And then data, current data indicates for Homa Bay County, much of the revenue is from Suba, the 2 Suba constituencies. If you go to Mount Elgon, Trans Nzoia and Bungoma, much of the revenue is from Mount Elgon. If you go to Migori, much of the revenue is from Kuria. And then, and Baringo is the same. Yeah, from Chat. We cannot justify.
Karoli.
And we need to understand this. The simple additional expense of a few senators, 1 governor, or a few people is not justification to permanently commit injustice to these members of Kenya. Yes. You cannot justify it that way. Because there are already counties that on their own source of revenue are not sustained. Actually, 85% of the current counties in Kenya on their own source revenue cannot sustain themselves. So if we are already supporting the others, we cannot deny these other guys. Yes, either we apply the same rules to everybody or we don't. So the issue of cost does not arise. It will be the same 15% being prorated between the old and the new counties. I hope that is debunked. There is another myth that when we create new counties, we will promote ethnic balkanization. And as I said, there's a Latin maxim, e pluribus unum. Out of many, one. Our constitution recognizes our diversity. It pronounces itself very elaborately. It encourages communities to manage their own affairs, require provisions of proximate and easily accessible public services, and promote decentralization. There is no ethnic angle to this quest. We just want fairness, justice, and an end to discrimination. Exactly. Yes, that is all we want.
Karoli, sorry.
There are 2 other additional minor myths. One, that we are promoting this so that each one of us here could go back and become governors. I just throw it back to you. This process you are stewarding here is creating certain public offices. I do not want to accuse any of you for being here to create a position that you will occupy later. I don't think that is the case. If it doesn't apply to you, it should not apply to us. Yes? Yes? Are we together? And then there's the other one, that the new counties will promote corruption. You hear that myth. Yeah? If that is the case, then we should do away with all the counties. We should even do away with the national government. We should even do away with the police service because they are ranked as the most corrupt. But we've never said we are going to stop having the country Kenya or a national government because of corruption. The challenge there is how to address cases of corruption. It is not how to commit injustice on people because others have been committing corruption. No, that does not apply. So finally, honorable members, we therefore wish to request this committee to include in its report to the National Assembly a recommendation for the establishment of an independent commission by Parliament under Article 188 of the Constitution of Kenya to review and alter the boundaries of the affected counties by creating the new counties of Kuria, Suba, Teso, Mount Elgon, Ijara, Mwingi, Nakuru West, East Pokot, Wajir South, and Gucha. Thank you very much.
Before you conclude, Honorable Karoli,
yes.
Before you conclude,
yes.
And you can see our sympathies for your case. Yes. But then, could you simply just comment on the matter of jurisdiction? insofar as this committee is concerned, vis-a-vis the issue you are canvassing, and
And could I also request, I see on page 15, you've mentioned 10 counties, page 15 of your document. You've mentioned 10 counties, yet you're talking about 11,
Yes.
but you've named 10. Which is the 11th?
Nyambene.
Oh, Nyambene in Meru.
Yes.
And,
Let me just clarify that point, Honorable Chair. The first 10, the process of initiating this review is by way of collecting a minimum of 60 signatures. 50 signatures. Now, all the 10, except Nyambene, we have already collected those signatures. We have already initiated that process in Parliament.
said.
Yes,
Well
and we
said.
have a proposed bill to that effect. So each of the counties already has the support of not less than 50 members.
Okay.
Now, for Nyambene, they are still in that process. Yeah.
Honorable Chariot is coming in with a question, Honorable Karoli.
But let me answer you first, Chair.
No, just note down. Just note down, please.
Okay.
As Honorable Chariot comes in,
Yes.
please also comment on the county boundaries bill, which is currently pending before the Senate. It might address the issue of the independent commission you are alluding to. Just note down.
Okay. County boundaries bill.
Senator Chariot.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the members that have found time to come and present before us. I am sympathetic to your cause as well, and I appreciate what you're speaking to. But I am cautiously optimistic about your request to us because of something that I wish you to address us, and maybe you help us appreciate and see how we can navigate it. The crux of the matter is that the people that you represent feel marginalized in the counties where they presently exist, and that the objects of devolution haven't been achieved to them. In fact, to use the words of one of the presenters who came here yesterday, making a case for Mwingi County, he said devolution has been taken captive at county headquarters and it doesn't reach the people. Yet that is what you are advocating for. However, and this is something I want either you, Karoli, or the members that you're with to address us. You have given us one way that this can be solved. Create for us additional counties where we can self-govern and our people can enjoy devolution like the rest of the country. I just want to ask, is there the slightest of chance that there is another way we can achieve your objectives without necessarily creating additional counties? Why do I ask so? I ask so because seated where you are, yesterday was Council of Governors. And we took them to task because as it is today, 47 out of 47, 100% of our counties are spending in excess of 80% of the devolved funds on recurrent. Only 20% is going to development. Therefore, there is a risk that even as you create further counties, you may not necessarily achieve the purpose of your intention, because basically what you're doing, you are creating another line of 80% recurrent expenditure. So is there a way, Mheshimiwa Karoli and your team, that what you're pleading can be achieved without necessarily having to create extra counties? Just a question that I'd wish you to address. And why do I say so? My last point is because, and I want to use Trans Nzoia as an example. Last week, we listened to elders from Mount Elgon and Sabaot. They came to us, presented just the way you're presented. Yesterday in the afternoon, we listened to another team that called themselves Trans Nzoia stakeholders. And they said, these people haven't come to us for us to resolve our issues internally before coming to you. Why do they want a share of our county to be given away? And actually you've mentioned it, because you've said, don't think about it in terms of cost, because the cost of running these counties will be gotten from already the share that is allocated to these specific counties. Therefore, people feel the majoritarian thinking in the counties where you're coming from can easily gang up and come before us tomorrow and say, why do you want to take away a portion of what has been given to us on account of certain people being dissatisfied? So I'm just using the case of Trans Nzoia that played out before us, and probably if people watch you today, then tomorrow we can have the other side of Homa Bay, the other side of Migori, Kisii, coming to us and saying, why do you want to take away other resources? Hence my question that while what you're proposing to us makes sense to me, that we can create additional counties, is this the only way through which we can entrench this concept of what you're calling further devolution, or there is another way? I'd wish to be assisted. I thank you, Chair.
Wambeleanga.
Thank you, Chair. I have a different idea, but I'm totally in agreement with the creation of new counties as a person. Because actually, I'm one of those who is affected, and the panel here can attest to that. My mother comes from Mount Elgon, and that is a team that has really been affected. But the idea of creation of new counties without a referendum, I really want to understand that clearly. Because you've tried to give us structures, and you've also tried to give us sub-articles, but still, the structure of devolution is one national government, and it has 47 governments, county governments. Creating additional counties would change the structure and thus require a referendum. I want you to look at that. And maybe as I'll be finishing, I would also propose that we will allow our technical teams to look at that, what Karoli has given us in those sub-articles 255 and 188. Because given the text of that, or the narrative of 255, it's actually not possible to create counties without a referendum. I want you to make me understand that a little bit better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Senator Omar.
Okay, asante.
The very last, I suppose.
Mheshimiwa Karoli and team, I always identify quite enormously with minorities and minority rights. After all, in Kenya, I am also a minority. But I want to be persuaded that to redress a minority systemic or endemic marginalization is a function of only appointing one or two members from that community or allocating an administrative advantage where one or two people are better placed competitively to raise to the echelons of those leaderships. I will not mention names, but if you look at communities hitherto, which have said they have been marginalized, you can count one or two people who have, in successive administrations, served in very high leadership positions, and some of them are actually now bequeathing that leadership to their own sons and daughters or to their family members. So you have this marginalization you have talked about has never been cured. What happens is you just actually empower one or two people to further become lords over their own territory or their people under the guise of fighting marginalization. So that's why you can see repeatedly, Chairman, I've asked this question: how does giving Hassan Omar or Amina Mnyazi a membership in a commission as a standalone without a program of inclusivity cure marginalization? We have been marginalized for 60 years, where once in a while you get a CS Hapa, you get a PS pale, you get a CDF pale, munapata sijui commissioner pale, munapata. It has not cured marginalization. So we need to, as a country, to have a conversation, rather than having these very ruthless competition of power based on ethnic engineering, to look for a programmatic way that the Endorois, the Suba, the new tribe in Kenya, what is it called? The Pemba, the Jamus, Canadians in Homa Bay, can be integrated in all spheres of national life. So what we need to do as we as we even talk about our counties and the creation of new administrative boundaries. Because if you create a county for me right now, there's very few people who can beat me where I come from. You know what I mean? Some like you, some of you have comparative advantage. That's the truth of the matter. When you get into a political seat, acquire a bit of facilities and capacity and resources, you become more competitive politically. Today, if you told me at the advent of devolution, 2013, to have those 14 regions, I will be thinking, 14 regions. If you told me today to merge 3-4 counties, I'm a little more confident that you merge them and I will still be in that race and probably afford it. So these kind of things, it gives you, so what you then do, you're enhancing a set of individuals, a handful. I can talk from Independence Kenya, in the minority communities of marginalized, it's been the same people. So what I'm asking, is there a way programmatically beyond administrative boundaries that we can be able to enhance our participation in national life and politics?
Thank you.
We can go on now? Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. In no particular order in answering the 5 questions, I absolutely agree with Senator Omar. Tokenism does not cure marginalization or discrimination. It does not, by putting somebody here or there. Actually, the way marginalization is normally about political representation and equitable share of resources. And these are issues that are addressed, if you look at the history of mankind, by organizing the distribution of those resources closer to the people. Whether you go to Switzerland, you go to America, wherever you go, they create these other units instead of having a centralized system of government. So the cure to this marginalization, I absolutely agree with you, is to create new counties or to create new other administrative units for central government to deal with that systemic issue. You will not solve it by appointing somebody to a position in central government. I absolutely agree with you. And that is what we are trying to address here.
Well said.
Yes. And then you see, Senator Cheriot has asked whether there are alternatives to creating new counties. The point is, this discrimination is both historical, but also post-2010 constitution. There are 2 regions that I would like to flag out, Nyanza and Western Kenya. If you look at the way Nyanza and Western Kenya have been treated over the years, even before 2010 constitution, in terms of distribution of administrative units, what we used to call districts, and creation of constituencies, they've been shortchanged to a very large extent. To a very large extent. You can see Western Kenya is actually asking for 2 new counties. Yes? And Nyanza is also asking for 2 new counties. That were actually in the original 74. 3. That were 3. That were in the original 74. Yeah. And there's been a lot of historical injustice to those 2 regions, whether it's constituencies or it is admin units or it is counties. It is all about representation, which goes down with sharing of resources. Actually, the quest that you see the Kuria people ask, the Suba people and the Gucha people, is to address the systemic discrimination against Nyanza in terms of those units, which has been historical for a very long time, over 50 years. It is not about those 2. It's only that those are the 3 areas that can clearly fit in the description. So I think the alternative would not be new constituencies, if that was the idea. New constituencies would just be maybe to again address certain issues where geography or other difficulties, like the constituencies like Wajir, where and Marsabit, where you can go for hundreds of kilometers before you see any government service. Those are the kind of issues. But we would not think of another alternative other than creating the counties. That is what we are seeing. Now, on the county boundaries bill, I will leave that to my colleague, Honorable Pukose. But before then, we have 2 other issues. Referendum, I want to deal with it last, because, Chair, you may allow me now to read the Constitution so we all understand it.
Well, less than 5 minutes to wind up.
Jurisdiction of NADOC. Jurisdiction of NADCO, you have something called governance issues, including promotion of national unity and inclusivity. That is your mandate. And as a good lawyer will tell you, any instrument appointing anybody, there's always the omnibus clause. Anything that appertains or is closely affiliated or connected.
Well addressed. Just
You
proceed,
have jurisdiction.
Yes.
Yes. The final one, so that there's clarity, I want us to start with Article 188, please, if we have our constitutions. If you just look at Article 188, that is page 120, page 120 of the Constitution. I don't know which version you have. 188, alteration, boundaries of counties. 188.1, boundaries of counties may be altered only by a resolution recommended by an independent commission set up for that purpose by Parliament. Are we together? And it is passed by 2/3 in both National Assembly and in the Senate. Then the boundaries of a county may be altered to take into account, these are the parameters you use, the 7 parameters. Population density and demographic trends. Yes? Physical and human infrastructure. Historical and cultural ties. The cost of administration. The views of the communities affected. The objects of devolution of government and geographical features. You don't have to satisfy all the 7. One is enough. One is enough. Under our Constitution. One is enough. Now, let us jump to Article 174 of the Constitution. Yeah? Let us start with 174. The objects of devolution. I want us to understand this very well, Honorable Wambilianga. Objects of devolution, we need to understand them. The objects of devolution of government are, 1, promote democratic and accountable exercise of power. To foster national unity by recognizing diversity. Yes? To give powers of self-governance to the people and enhance the participation of the people in the exercise of the powers of the state and in making decisions affecting them. To recognize the right of communities to manage their own affairs and to further their development. Welcome, Your Excellency. To protect and promote the interests and rights of minorities and marginalized communities. To promote social and economic development and the provision of proximate, easily accessible services throughout Kenya. To ensure equitable sharing of national and local resources throughout Kenya. To facilitate the decentralization of state organs, their functions and services from the capital of Kenya. And to enhance checks and balances and the separation of powers. Those are the objects. And if you want to amend that article, you go to a referendum. Principles of devolved government, Article 175. County government shall be based on democratic principles and separation of powers. County government shall have reliable sources of revenue. We have addressed those. And then Article 176, which is the structure now. There shall be a county government for each county consisting of county assembly and county executive. I think we have now understood those ones. Now let's go to 255, which was causing a problem. 255, and there are 2 there. 255, 1I. A proposed amendment to this constitution shall be enacted in accordance with Article 256 or 257 and approved in accordance with Clause 2 by a referendum, if the amendment relates to any of the following matters. And I is the operative one in our case. The objects, principles, and structure of devolved government. That is the only thing that requires referendum. So if you are amending Article 174, which is the objects, 175, which are the principles, structure, which is 176, then you go to a referendum. But by creating new counties, we are not amending those. We are not amending 174. We are not amending 175. We are not amending 176. We are giving them life. We are making them have legs. That is what we are doing. We are not amending the objects principle. Are we together? And then, if you go to 255.5, was it? No, 250, yeah. I think that's the one. Or, no, 256.5. 256.5, because there's been confusion around that. If a bill to amend the Constitution proposes an amendment relating to matters specified in 255.1, those matters, then there's a referendum.
Yes, we've had you, Mheshimiwa,
does
and
not
you've
apply.
done a good job, I must admit. You've done a good job. So we will give Mheshimiwa Pukose only 1 minute because we have about 21 teams to see us today. And you are the first and you have taken about 45 minutes already. And
Thank
so
you,
please,
Chair.
Respectfully, 1 minute.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I wanted to respond to the issue raised by Honorable Aaron Cheriot, leader for majority in the Senate. And the issue he raised was that is there any mechanism? Because last week we had a delegation from the support community from both Mount Elgon and Trans Nzoia. And yesterday we had another team from Trans Nzoia calling themselves Trans Nzoia professionals. I would want to associate myself with the presentation by the support from both Mount Elgon and Trans Nzoia. The team that was here yesterday, they did not present a petition. They present a counter petition. Therefore, and this team was organized by Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, who is seated here, and Governor Natembeya. What I want to say is that
that is improper.
yes, that's a fact.
No, it's improper. No.
It's a fact.
Yeah, even if it's a fact, you do not have to present it the manner you are.
Yeah.
This committee's work is honorable and very serious. So, tafadhali, I would ask that those remarks be expunged from the records of this meeting and address it because you don't want to polarize. We're trying to avoid polarization and you're drawing us right into it.
With due
Tafadhali,
respect,
Mheshimiwa.
And Mheshimiwa, I think it's
Yeah.
important for you to know that we have opened doors for any Kenyan who wants to come and make a presentation, whether individually or as a group like you've done today. So even if they came, it is their right to come, kindly.
But it is
Yeah.
not right for somebody to come and make a presentation, a counter presentation against another community. If they have a petition to present to this honorable committee, let them present their petition. Respect the petition of the other team that has presented their petition. Because what I'm asking this honorable committee to do is to look at the petitions in terms of their merit, because we presented our petitions to you. Look at our petition in the merit in which we presented, not in reference to any other committee presenting their petition. That is what we only ask.
Mheshimiwa, further, because you are not even in any of those groups that made the presentation.
Pardon?
So you are not with the Sabot community.
He clearly
because
says he has
you're
associated himself.
You're saying you're
I'm associating
associating
myself with their presentation.
very well, but you are not here. So you really run the risk of misrepresentation and distortion. And as Honorable Cecilia has told you, I think you should just stand guided and let us avoid creating animosity. Yeah. And in fact, both teams have every right to appear. So since you are not there and they're not here to respond to what you are saying, I think it's only fair, Mheshimiwa, that we expunge your comments and then make progress, close the matter.
Well guided, Chair.
May I propose that, are you finished, Mheshimiwa? Because we want to close this session.
Just one very important one. I want to respond to Honorable Cheriot by saying financial crisis management for the counties existing for 7 counties, for example, having a county having 80% recurrent expenditure against 20% project budget, that's managerial skills of a governor. If a governor is poor in terms of managing, for example, in CDF, we are guided by a code whereby there is no CDF board do not approve your budget if you have not adhered by the rules. That means let's not base our argument that existing counties by governors mismanaging resources in terms of corruption, employing the way they want, that can be an hindrance for creation of more counties. That is structural. And
Mheshimiwa from Mwingi.
Yes.
And I'll give you 30 seconds because you're very late. And yesterday we gave Mwingi almost 30 minutes through the senator, who did a good job, by the way. So you can only take 30 seconds.
I'm guided.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I want to be specific to Mwingi County, which applies to these 11 counties. And as you were told yesterday, Mwingi was an existing operational district with an DC and a budget in 1992, but not gazetted due to a mistake and oversight of a public officer. This applies to some of these counties. Indeed, Makueni and Tharaka Nithi became a district much later than Mwingi, yet they are now counties. So we, the people of Mwingi, consider this as an historical injustice, and we feel shortchanged.
And that was mentioned yesterday very deeply by the senator.
Give me an extra 30 seconds.
No, 10 seconds, Mwesh. 10 seconds.
No, indeed, at the time, there only existed 2 districts in Kitui County. That is Mwingi and Kitui. And Kitui was taken as a county, and Mwingi was left out. Geographically, Kitui is in the south, and Mwingi is in the north. And we, the northerners, are referred to by the others as Andumangura, meaning we are a distinct entity from the others, and we deserve to manage our own affairs.
We've had you. Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. We've had you.
Chairs, I have to say something about it.
I'll allow Kamket 30 seconds, Mheshimiwa Emase 30 seconds, and that is it. That is it. Mheshimiwa, 30 seconds, kindly, Mheshimiwa.
Chair, I plead for your indulgence. I plead for your indulgence. I want to ask a lady, the only lady lawyer from East Pokot. She's here.
Give her the mic if you want her to speak, and therefore you will not speak,
yes,
Mheshimiwa.
no issue.
Okay, in the meantime, as you pass the mic to her, Mheshimiwa Mary Emase, make your statement. 30 seconds.
She's going to demonstrate
yes,
that we in East Pokot are actually victims of devolution instead of beneficiaries.
We've had you. We've had you. Mheshimiwa Mary Emase, the floor is yours, 30 seconds.
Thank you, Chairs, all protocols observed. I want to speak to issues that are unique to TESO. TESOs in Kenya are about 576,000. But in Busia County, we are 306, and that excludes those who are unfairly forced into the neighboring counties by virtue of the unfairness in the division of those boundaries. So because we are unique, we are Nilots. We speak a unique language. We found ourselves lumped together with the Bantus, which were my majority in Busia County. We found ourselves within Busia County, where a majority of the population are Bantus. So therefore, we feel marginalized. We have been historically marginalized. In fact, Busia is being referred, or Western region is referred to as the Mlembe Nation. We struggle to actually create that space and get our recognition in whichever forum that we find ourselves in. And this situation is replicated in Isuba. There are Bantus within an Nilotic area, Kuria, Sabawots, that is 1. 2, I want to demystify the myth on population, and it has been alluded to by Honorable Kalori. In fact, we are referred to like at the TESOs cannot fill a wheelbarrow. And when you look at some of the existing counties, the population of Samburu County is 310. The population of Lamu County is 143,920. The population of Isiolo County as it exists is 268,327. I can name up to 9 counties: Marsabit, Tana River, Taita Taveta, Tharaka Nithi, Elgeyo Marakwet, Laikipia. So the issue of population does not arise. The TESO people have requested for their own county so that we can manage our own affairs. We have different tradition, culture, food, way of life.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa. Thank you.
The last one.
Lastly,
the last one is historical exclusion over the years, both politically, economically, socially, even spiritually. All of you will remember that the Teso people had to go on a hunger strike to get the Katakwa diocese. The Teso people have suffered. We even lost some of our leaders because of fighting for political space in this country. To get even the district, the Teso district, it was a fight. So you can also relate that Busia County has been very lucky. Sometimes in the past, in other governments, Busia County would have more than 3 ministers in government. More than 3 ministers and other senior positions. But none would be from the Teso region. Every appointment is given
Mheshimiwa
to
Mary Emase, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I must admit that you are a true fighter for the people of Teso. And I appreciate you. Let's hear from the Pokot lady. And you have 1 minute, madam. We will give you that. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Honorable, Your Excellency, the chairs of this committee. Before you today is the members of the community from the East Pokot community. And we are here to present to you our petition. We have...
you're already wasting 20 seconds. Go to the point. Go straight to the point, my dear. Go straight to the point.
The main prayer that we're making today, that we'll be allowed to manage ourselves, and for the reasons that we have been marginalized beyond measure. If I can mention a few instances of this marginalization, is that the whole of East Pokot, which has 2 sub-counties, we only have 1 medical doctor. If we go to schools, we have fewer schools, which you will see when you look through our document, compared to other parts of the county. And if we go to allocation of resources, it is worthy to state that most of the leadership positions in the county are all from one community. If I can mention a few of the top leadership, if even my people will respond to it, our governor is from which community? Okay. Deputy governor, okay. Senator, okay. West Women Rep, okay. Speaker, county speaker. So most of the flagship projects, for example, in Baringo County, are discussed at executive level, and none of the members from our community sits at that table. So where does that put us in the map of this country? So we are asking that, at the least, let us govern ourselves.
We've had you. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your hard, good work. Thank you, lady. Thank you, lady. We've had you. We have this big document. I can tell you we are not taking any document brought before us for granted. We'll look at it in depth, and we will make sure that we do the necessary.
Ijara.
And thank you very much.
Please, can I talk,
thank
please?
you.
Can I talk, please?
We have 20 more teams on this list that are coming before us. We've had you bring your...
kindly indulge the Ijara community because they are here. If they can just say a word.
30 seconds.
Thank you very much.
30 seconds.
Thank you. 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. All protocol observed. First, I want to say that...
And can we have one meeting? Order, please?
The meeting is still ongoing.
Thank you very much. All protocol observed. As Ijara County, first I want to support the caucus, and we are part and parcel. Ijara is the home of the great statesman, our late Yusuf Haji, Allah Rahma. And Ijara is very unique because it is the only constituency that holds Hirola as a specimen in the whole of the world. The white giraffe
And if you don't make Ijara a county, the white giraffe will be killed left, right, center. If you come to the population, Ijara has 300,000 population, which is 30% of Garissa County. And over 200,000 are all over the country. The other factor that you will consider is the landmass. Ijara is 27% of Garissa County, which is 11,332. If you just consider population-wise, Lamu has 143,000, Isiolo has 268,000, and if you see, Ijara also was gazetted, was mentioned, was existing in 1992, and it was not gazetted just because we share the same common with the Mwingi district, and Ijara was first in the national plan of Kenya, 1967 to 1972. And if you see right now, if you go back to Ijara, Ijara was doing well, better before even devolution. Masalani was doing well, but right now it's a ghost
Kindly
town.
wide up now.
So because of
Wide
that,
up.
we support to be created Igara.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Asante, Majority Leader.
Chair, maybe the member for Ijara, because he had the mic, and I know the Honorable Karoli Omondi had read Article 188 of the Constitution. Member for Ijara, I am addressing you. And all the other honorable members of the National Assembly who are here, and I'm told Honorable Karoli Omondi had read to you Article 188 of the Constitution that says the boundaries of a county may be altered only by a resolution recommended by an independent commission set up for that purpose by Parliament and passed by the National Assembly. You are all members of Parliament who sit in the National Assembly. Has any one of you made an attempt to have a resolution to set up a commission to review the county boundaries in Parliament as stipulated in Article 188 of the Constitution? And what would your view be, member for Ijara? Yesterday we had an intelligent young man from Homa Bay County here who told us this committee has no mandate to review boundaries in his interpretation of that article of the Constitution. What would your take be? Honorable Abdi, you have the mic.
As Honorable Abdi is,
maybe answer for you.
My leader, as the Honorable Abdi is preparing himself, we have made several attempts. You will recall that when BBI was happening, several communities, actually similar, the same communities that are here today before.
Honorable Marwa, I asked a specific question.
Yes.
You are members of Parliament.
I am coming to that.
Just go straight to that.
I am coming to that.
BBI, just go straight there to save time.
Yes, we have a bill, proposed bill, that is yet to be tabled in Parliament. And I'm sure...
So you have a bill that is yet to be tabled in Parliament?
Yes.
Thank you.
That is one.
That's
and
good
then
enough.
You did
it is yet to?
Yes, we have it here. We have it here.
You have it here.
Yes.
It is attached to the documents you have come before this committee.
Majority Leader,
meaning you had not done anything before you came here.
No, we have. We have.
So why hasn't it been tabled to Parliament? Why is it being tabled here?
Because it has not been prioritized. The bill is already with a document of Parliament.
I am a member of the House Business Committee.
It is on.
May I confirm to you before the House Business Committee of the National Assembly, there is no indication of any bill, any legislative proposal, and therefore I am challenging you as members of Parliament, Honourable Member, if you can allow me to finish, I am only challenging you as members of Parliament who are able to read this Constitution for us. Please, I would want to urge you to also pursue that route because that is what the Constitution says.
Yes.
And that was pointed out to us yesterday by a young man called Michael from Homa Bay County.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we are done. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We end there. We kindly end there, Mheshimiwa.
Memorandum
Thank
we want
you
to
very
present
much.
before
Just
you.
bring
Kindly,
the memorandum.
The Kuria people kindly go forward, present your memorandum. The TESO elders kindly present your memorandum.
Mheshimiwa, we already have the memorandum. There's no need to present again.
Those are elders memorandum. Kindly present yourself. Yes, kindly do that. The courier people, kindly.
Mheshimiwa Kitayama, please allow us, you exit through the right to allow us to be able to continue with the other groups.
Done. Thank you.
Asanteni sana. East Pokot County, exit through the right.
Kindly, we beg that you exit quickly. Exit. Thank you. My people. Thanks, my sister. Thank you. Kindly, can we have...
Order, please exit.
We support you. Yes. Kindly,
Sergeant Atam, usher all these people, including members of parliament, out.
Tafadhali. Can we have the next team coming in? The next team, can they come in, please? Gentlemen, members of the committee, we have taken exactly 1 hour, 10 minutes with that team. If we go by that pace, we will not manage to finish all these groups that are here. So I want to beg that if you're given a chance to ask a question, be as brief as possible. And somebody please help us manage Hassan, especially. Today Eugene is quite aongei sana, but Hassan needs to be managed. When you're given a moment, take 1 minute maximum if you want to seek clarification or comment. Kindly. I think, Chair, there's a proposal here. Kindly, could we also have the Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops led in? Kindly. Which one is this? This is NCCK, but we're also requesting the Kenya Catholic Bishops, Kenya Conference of Catholic Bishops, KCCB, to come in also.
Yeah, of course, they will present.
They'll present at their time, but we'd want them to be together also so that they benefit from each other. Secretariat? Where are they? Okay, tell them. But in the meantime, the NCCK will start. Welcome, and we'll give you a chance to present. Just make an introduction. But before you is the Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, Majority Leader, and also who is the Chair. I'm just sitting in for him. Honorable Catherine Wambilianga, Honorable Hassan Omar Hassan, Honorable Aaron Cheriot, and then Honorable Opio Wandai, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, and Honorable Amina Mnyazi, and then of course my co-chair, His Excellency Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka. Karibuni. And it's important to let you know you have exactly 20 minutes. So be as brief as possible. Go straight to the real issues so that you don't waste time on non-issues, quote unquote, focus on the real issues.
Thank you very much, Chair. My name is Reverend Canon Chris Kinyanjui, the General Secretary of NCSK. To my left is Henry Njagi, then Reverend Mother Wangari, Father Diani from the Orthodox Church. We have the moderator of the PCA, Dr. Thegu on my left. To my right is the chair of NCSK, Dr. Timothy Dambuki. We have our vice chair of NCSK, Dr. Okinda. We have Mary from the Mothers Union, and we have Bishop Ole Mpeo from the Kenya Evangelical Lutheran Church. So we are full house, and without wasting time, I'll give this chance to the chair of NCSK to lead the next conversation.
It's okay. Thank you. Chairs, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for giving us an opportunity to come here to represent the church under the umbrella of the NCCK memo to you this morning. Honorable chairs, we are grateful for this opportunity to present this memorandum to this honorable committee. What we will share with you today is a summarized version of the full memorandum we submitted to yourselves via email on September 15th, 2023. We'll be glad to clarify on any areas you may require further information on regards our memorandum on the overall state of our nation. The National Council of Churches of Kenya is a family of Christian churches and communions established in 1913. This makes NCCK the oldest and the largest umbrella body for the churches in Kenya, bringing together 32 member churches and 18 Christian organizations. NCCK has presence in all the 47 counties, bringing together 16 million Christians organized in over 50,000 congregations. Structurally, the NCCK has devolved to the grassroots with the governance organs that comprise of wards, committees, county coordinating committees, regional committees, executive committee, and a General Assembly. The Council endeavors to fulfill the vision, one church, united in faith and mission, witnessing to Jesus Christ and transforming lives. Being guided by the mission, holistic transformation.
On a point of order,
yes.
Maybe to guide the Reverend, Bishop, please, you spare us the history. Just go straight to the issues, as we said, in the interest of time.
Thank you. Now, centrality of dialogue. Honorable chairs, we commend your committee for progress you have made in reaching agreement on the agenda for the bipartisan consultative process that has been bestowed on you. Recommendations on the agenda items set out by the committee. Having keenly considered the 5 agenda items outlined in the, allow us to highlight the following recommendations. Outstanding constitutional matters, the cost of living and the related issues. To address the spiraling cost of living, we strongly recommend that that the Finance Act 2023 be repealed to reduce the tax burdens. To promote national unity and inclusivity in public appointments, we recommend that appointing authorities shall ensure the face of Kenya and the ethnic balance is respected and seen to be done. Constitutional commissions be accorded genuine financial and operational freedom.
Of the 2022 general elections to ensure the process promotes peace, stability, and national cohesion. Entrenching funds into the Constitution. Honorable Chairs, in your communication, reference was made to intention to entrench 3 funds in the Constitution, and this being 1, National Government Constituency Development Fund, and 2, National Government Affirmative Fund, and number 3, Senate Oversight Fund. We observed that these funds would be managed by members of National Assembly, women representatives of counties, and in the National Assembly and Senate respectively. Nonetheless, we do note with emphasis that the Constitution does not allocate any funds management responsibilities to the 2 houses of Parliament. This would offend and in essence negate the principle of separation of powers. We therefore recommend that the 3 funds are not established and the existing Constituency Development Fund be terminated as they are in contravention of the Constitution. Honorable Chairs, allow me to say something on establishment and entrenchment of state offices. 1, the office of the leader of the official opposition, and 2, the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Honorable Chairs, the National Council of Churches of Kenya is on record recommending that measures be taken to provide for a dignified opposition. The proposal for creation of the office of the leader of the official opposition is therefore a step in the right direction. Quite notably, there was appointed a holder of the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, a position that currently does not exist in the Constitution. The proposed establishment of the office of this office is therefore a move to legalize what already exists. Recognizing that the establishment of the 2 positions would change the structure of government as outlined in the Constitution, we recommend that a people-driven process be created to run in which Kenyans debate about the 2 proposed positions to determine their scope, mandate, and implications. Thank you, Honorable Chairs.
Honorable Chairs, we are getting to the conclusion. We have also spoken to the fidelity to political parties, coalitions, and the law on multi-party democracy. That is preventing interference with political parties' coalitions. Honorable Chairs, Article 4, subsection 2 of the Constitution provides that the Republic of Kenya shall be a multi-party democratic state founded on the national values and principles of governance referred to in Article 10. It is therefore inimical to the Constitution for any person or organ to engage in any actions that would offend the democratic nature of the Republic. We further recognize the Constitution in Article 38 accords Kenyans the right to hold and change political opinions and to join or exit political parties at wish. Nonetheless, a person who changes or is deemed to have changed the party that nominated them for any position should lose that position. To address the concerns that have been raised with regard to interference with opposition political parties by government, we recommend implementation of the processes and procedures provided for in the Constitution of the political parties as well as the Political Parties Act. In regard to proposals to amend the Constitution, Honorable Chairs, the NCCK speaks to it and says, allows us to specifically recommend against any proposal to amend the Constitution. Instead, we urge you to identify and drive legislative and policy measures to address the issues set out in the agenda. It will not be prudent at this moment in time to subject the country to the polarization and the politicization of life that accompanies constitutional amendment discussed when there is a potentially divisive boundaries delimitation process coming up in a short while and an economic meltdown. In conclusion, we in NCCK commend the National Dialogue Committee for the process you have engaged in. However, the time frame provided is rather short, which has the risk of forcing the committee to adopt a political settlement with minimal public participation. NCCK recommends that the committee engages Kenyans at the county level to ensure no Kenyan is left unheard. We recommend that the term of the committee to be extended for this purpose. On our part, we remain committed to the betterment of Kenya. We will continue promoting dialogue at all levels so that Kenyans build a common vision for a just